Good morning. It is Friday, January 26th. Here's what we're working on. Niagara Regional Council pulls a Gaza ceasefire motion from the agenda.
Big news down under. Novak Djokovic will not be playing in the Australian Open men's final.
And George Carlin's estate is suing over a fake comedy special.
What you're about to hear is my second.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us on this especially soggy Friday.
Wow.
I cannot believe how much rain. There was so much ponding, and I come down one of the escarpment accesses, and I'm like, whoa, what a mess.
Well, even so for me on the QEW coming in, you almost you had to kind of stay in the middle lane because it's dark out and you don't know where the ponding is happening. Yeah. So the hydroplaning, so you just have to be really careful.
Got to be careful.
A lot of rain.
Yeah, we have a special weather statement in effect for all of the horseshoe talking about 15 to 25 millimeters of precipitation.
Wow.
It's not a rainfall warning or anything like that. It's just a statement saying, be careful. We're going to get a lot of rain out of this system as it crosses southern Ontario. You probably heard it drumming on the roof last night. And those winds, well, actually the winds right now, very strong. They're gusting to just about 60 kilometers an hour from the north-northeast. But those winds will die off. The rain will taper off as well as the morning goes on. And we could just get a little bit of light rain, some drizzle later. But a mild day today. Now, yesterday we got to 2 degrees. Today we should hit 7 degrees. And even tomorrow, we're going to sit around 6 degrees. So that snow is going to be gone, whatever is left. There's not an awful lot left with all the melting going on. But at least we can see this morning. There's no fog in the area, thankfully. But just be careful, as we talked about, pooling and ponding on the roads, on the highways. Just be careful. Drive carefully. We'll look at the forecast coming up. Quick check on traffic, 403 and Waterdown Road. We usually start there. That looks pretty good at the moment. Nothing there. We do have a collision right now in St. Catharines. I'll go to that MTO traffic camera. It's Toronto-bound lanes of the QEW at 7th. So you're going through St. Catharines, crossing the area around 7th. You can see, actually, it was on both shoulders. Now it's on the right shoulder. They've cleared everything off to the right. Could be the right lane block through there as well. But that's the only problem that we have at the moment. Just wet roads, a big problem here today. We'll talk about weather and traffic coming up right now. The news.
Thanks very much, Brian. A contentious motion in front of Niagara Regional Council calling for a ceasefire in Gaza was shut down last night by another motion introduced by St. Catharines Mayor Matt Cisco. Simone Gavros joins us now with more on the chaos that happened afterwards.
Hi, good morning, Annette. Well, yes, the motion brought forward from Mayor Matt Cisco was brought forward before the 18 delegates that were present could even speak on the topic. Now, the meeting yesterday got very heated, intense, and many of the delegates say that what happened was very disappointing. This was the scene from the gallery in council yesterday where the delegates were sitting waiting to make their remarks. The agenda item initially brought forward by Councillor Haley Bateman had a number of requests, including a support for a ceasefire, lifting the cap on the number of Palestinians who can apply to come to Canada, and lighting the Niagara region headquarters with the colors of the Palestinian flag. Now, Cisco said that the reason he moved to remove the agenda item was because the end result would be divisive within the community. The delegates waiting to speak called it a disgrace.
It was a complete shock.
My heart sank. It was just, we had a little bit of hope. We kind of knew that this was going to happen, but we thought we might still get a chance to speak and speak for our cause, speak for our people, and we weren't able to do that, and it's a shame.
To me, it's insulting that this council wouldn't give this issue the attention that it deserves.
Now, all but 2 councillors were in favor of Cisco's motion. We've reached out to people from yesterday's meeting for comment, for more reaction on what happened at yesterday's meeting. But for now, Tim, I'll send things over to you.
All right, thanks, Simone. Well, municipalities like Hamilton and Toronto are considering property tax increases of about 8% and 10.5% respectively. The city of St. Catharines is proposing a much smaller figure, just under 2%.
We recognize the fiscal situation we were in coming out of COVID last year. We made some very difficult decisions. We knew that if we wanted to avoid a lot of financial pain and even bigger increases in the future, we had to go down that path.
So that is St. Catharines Mayor Matt Cisco, and that is why St. Catharines upped its property taxes 10.5% in 2023. But Cisco says that big jump does mean a tax increase of just 1.8% this year, 3.5% and 3.5% the following year. Now, the proposed multi-year budget is set to be debated at Council next Wednesday.
2 people have been arrested after a multi-vehicle crash in Caledonia. The OPP and 6 Nations have now cleared the scene. We're waiting to hear back from police about what led to this. Several people on social media posted that there was a chaotic scene near King William and Seneca Streets in Caledonia around 3:30 yesterday afternoon. At least 4 vehicles were involved. One pickup ended up on top of another vehicle. Few details have been shared, but the OPP say only minor injuries were reported. Multiple media outlets are reporting that charges against a Mississauga man, Kenneth Law, have now been upgraded to first-degree murder. Law is accused of marketing and selling a lethal substance to people at risk of self-harm. He was initially charged with counseling and aiding suicide after an investigation in the United Kingdom led to allegations that he was responsible for the deaths of at least 88 people. Peel Regional Police later added 14 charges of second-degree murder. It is unclear how many of those have been upgraded to first degree. Peel Police have previously claimed that Law is responsible for sending at least 1,200 packages to over 40 countries. Several politicians, including those in Fort Erie, are calling on the Ontario government to do more when it comes to rural health care. They say communities across the province are in crisis because of a lack of family doctors and urgent care centre closures.
We need this urgent care open 24/7. I'm asking the government the health minister, to direct Niagara Health to open it back up 24/7. We're a growing population. We have high number of seniors in this community, and we don't have enough family doctors to service them.
Douglas Memorial Hospital, for example, in Fort Erie is open from 10 in the morning until 8 at night. Liberal Party leader Bonnie Crombie also held a news conference calling on the Ford government to invest more in rural health care. Well, a special moment for a 102-year-old Second World War veteran in Beamsville. Elizabeth Jones, or Aunt Janie, as her friends call her, was presented with a quilt of honor, a quilt of valor.
How special were you when you were born to your mother? That is how special that was.
There's nothing else that compares to this moment, and I know that Aunt Janie is feeling wonderful to be recognized and to be honored.
The almost 103-year-old served as a leading aircraft woman in the Second World War after enrolling in the Air Force in 1943. She was gifted a quilt of valor for her service by an organization that gives handmade quilts to veterans.
Just a wonderful story from the 6 last night. All right, let's get into Sportsline. And lots of sports to get to on this Friday morning as a couple long streaks were kept alive, but the opportunity for Novak Djokovic winning an 11th Australian Open title, that came to an end early this morning. A massive upset as the 4th-ranked Italian, Jannik Sinner, would take down the world's top player in a dominating 4 sets, 6-1, 6-2, 6-7, 6-3, to book his first ever ticket into a Grand Slam final. For the Joker, he had won down under for the past 5 years. And the year he didn't win was in 2022 when he was not allowed to compete because he would not get vaccinated. Sinner, at 22, could be the future of men's tennis, along with a number of other young stars like Carlos Alcaraz, who lost in the quarterfinals. The question is, who will Sinner face in the finals? That is down to either 3rd-ranked Russian Daniil Medvedev, who lost in the finals back-to-back years in 21 and 22 to the Joker, and then Rafael Nadal. But he is in tough against 6th-ranked Alexander Zverev from Germany. who bounced Alcaraz in the quarters. We could be witnessing a second straight upset. Zverev had taken the first 2 sets against Medvedev, 7-6, 6-4, and is leading in the third. The men's final goes early Sunday morning our time. Ladies' final, that goes tomorrow morning.
3 times that puck was handed back to him. Here's Nugent Hopkins back to Draisaitl. McDavid, a backhander score! Rosick was still at the far post. McDavid knew it.
On the ice, you can make it 15 straight wins for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid, he would score twice, even add an assist. The Oilers would shut out the lowly Chicago Blackhawks 3-0 on home ice. They have now tied the 81-82 Islanders and 2016-17 Penguins for the 3rd longest winning streak in NHL history. Penguins also hold the all-time record of 17. Calvin Pickard would stop former Bulldog Mackenzie Entwistle on a penalty shot and make 27 saves for the shutout. They go for 16 straight when they host Nashville on Saturday.
Sobolev, fans on it, got it forward for Lavoie. Lavoie scores!
Yeah, speaking of streaks, 2 former Ice Dogs, Zach Lavoie and Daniil Sobolev, combined to score the winning goal for the Brantford Bulldogs, and they have now beaten their dog rivals 22 straight times. The latest, a 5-2 beatdown at the Meridian Center last night. Bulldogs' 5th straight win. Merrick Van Acker right there led the way with 2 goals, now has 11 in 10 games. So they return home to Brantford for 4 straight starting tomorrow night against Kingston. Those Frontenacs are in Niagara tonight.
Engvall turned it over on his way out of the zone. Anderson shot, they score, it's Monahan.
Yeah, back to the NHL and in Montreal. That late goal by Sean Monahan, set up by Josh Anderson. With just over 2 minutes left, lifted the Canadiens to a 4-3 win over the New York Islanders and ruined the return of Islanders' new coach, Patrick Waugh. And it was his return to Montreal and also snapped a 3-game slide. Waugh, who was just named New York's coach last week, is a legend in Montreal, winning 2 Stanley Cups and received a 2-minute standing ovation after the anthems at the start of the game by the Bell Center faithful. Another example, it's hard for me to say this, why they are the best hockey fans in the world. Hey, let's finish with some great news for Hamilton's favorite son, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The NBA leader in 30-point games this season has been named as a starter to the NBA All-Star Game. So cool. The OKC Thunder guard edged out perennial All-Star, future Hall of Famer Steph Curry to join LeBron James and others in the Western Conference team. He also joined Steve Nash as the only multiple-time All-Star, as he went last year, but remember, it was as a reserve, not as a starter. NBA All-Star Game goes down February 18th from Indiana.
6:12, it is Friday. Oh, but it's a wet Friday. I mean, you probably heard the rain pelting down throughout the overnight, and it continues this morning. We'll check the wet roads that we have. Nothing going on at the 403 and Waterdown Road area coming out of Hamilton. All looking okay. No problems in the Hamilton area right now. One collision to talk about, and it's in St. Catharines this morning. We don't know. Wait a minute. There it is. Okay, got it. QEW in 7th. This is Toronto-bound lanes heading away from us. It's off on the right shoulder, right lane blocked through here. There's not a lot of volume. It is busy heading Toronto-bound coming out of St. Catharines, but that's the only problem that we have. Here's Midland Road, Stony Creek, all the way through west of Brant. Just flipping through some of these cameras. Ford Drive to Cawthra. Oh, now, all of a sudden, this has just appeared. We've got a problem here. QEW at Cawthra, we're looking at Fort Erie-bound lanes heading away from us. It looks like 2 left lanes are blocked through here. That's going to slow things down. Wet roads, pooling and ponding on the roads this morning. Be really careful because you can hit puddles really quickly and they can be very dangerous when you're going at speed. So let's look at the temperature that we have right now. We're on the plus side to start the morning here. +2 is our temperature, but those winds, we had gusts to almost 60 last hour. Now they're coming down a little bit, 36 to 49. They will diminish as the morning goes on, but rain still this morning. So for school today, we're looking at a temperature of 7 degrees, so far above seasonal. There's that light. It'll taper off as the day goes on. This is our satellite radar picture from the past 6 hours. You can see how we're getting the brighter colors in there are the heavier downpours. We've had some of those throughout the overnight. So it's a low pressure system. It's finally going to move away and it's going to take the rain with it, but there's still a chance of some showers or drizzle, not only this afternoon, but overnight tonight And into the day tomorrow, we could get more drizzle as yet another low pressure system approaches. They just keep coming at us. So today, 15 to 25 millimeters possible with this rain, but temperatures mild, 6 and 7 degrees. Tonight, it stays again on the mild side, 2 to 4 degrees, a little light rain throughout the overnight, quite possible, maybe some drizzle. And then tomorrow, we're looking at drizzle again, temperatures 5 and 6 degrees, so it stays mild for another couple of days. So out the door this morning, 26th of January, temperature right now is 2, and we do have rain. And we'll look long range coming up at that, Tim.
Okay, right now we're looking shorter range for what's coming up later in Chit Chat with Emily.
Well, you're going to want to stay tuned because it's going to be a bit of a giggle fest. Seth Meyers hosted Tom Hollander on his talk show and talked about how the actor gets confused for Tom Holland quite regularly.
Yeah, and a nice little payoff for that.
Right.
Okay. You were saying that with such a somber tone.
Oh, it's going to be really funny.
That's why I was giggling.
I was like concentrating in my mind to make sure I said it correctly, like Hollander as opposed to Holland. I didn't want to mix it up because, you know, it's early and it's Friday.
That is true. Can confirm that. And we will see you at the couch in a little bit.
Okay.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, up after the break.
Are you satisfied with the airline passengers' complaint process? The federal government is not. That story coming up. Canadian dollar is up 3 basis points this morning in overseas trading to 74.34 cents U.S. Gold is up more than $5, while crude dropped 70 cents to $76.66 a barrel. Checking midday trading in Europe, the markets have seen modest gains in London, Frankfurt, and Paris.
Off to Asia we go. Markets are down in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai on this Friday. North American markets on Thursday had some nice gains, specifically for the Dow Jones as it continues to increase. Let's see how they wrap up the trading week on this last Friday of January.
Federal Transport Minister Pablo Rodriguez says airlines can't and they shouldn't get away with consumer rights violations. Earlier this month, thousands of WestJet customer flights were canceled during an extreme cold snap in Alberta, with many saying that the airline wouldn't reschedule them within the required window. An advocate says this is the latest example of a failure to uphold travelers' rights. Rodriguez says an overhaul of the passenger rights charter is underway, with stricter rules expected to take effect this year.
Let's go to Alberta, where their health minister says that she's excited by Shoppers Drug Mart's plan to open another 44 of its pharmacy care clinics across the province this year. So Adriana Legrande says the expansion could help to reduce the strain on emergency departments and family doctors. The clinics are located in the store's pharmacies and are able to see patients for minor illnesses and injuries, administer vaccines, and help with chronic disease management. And Lagrange went on to say, this move aligns with her party's ongoing efforts to, quote, refocus the healthcare system.
The beer store is expanding its delivery options with DoorDash Canada. The agreement initially saw deliveries from 50 stores across Ontario. Another 230 have now been added. The beer store says couriers cancel alcohol deliveries if a recipient can't produce a valid ID, appears to be intoxicated, or tries to buy alcohol for a minor. It says DoorDash couriers have their Smart Serve licenses, and they have to ensure that deliveries are only made to customers 19 and older.
So French farmers again blocked highways yesterday, part of an ongoing protest against what they say is stifling over-regulation in their industry. The protest initially broke out in the southwest of France 2 weeks ago. So now local media say regional farming unions have called on their members to head for Paris. Earlier this week, the powerful farming union handed the government a list of their demands. They include better enforcement of a law designed to safeguard farm gate prices, diesel tax breaks, and immediate payments of EU agriculture subsidies, among others. Do not mess with farmers, because they'll bring the tractors out. And it takes up a lot of space. Yes. On to Paris we go.
Wow. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Brian is going to be back with your local traffic and the 7-day forecast as well.
Grab that umbrella.
6:24 on this Friday. Good morning. We have a problem here at the QEW going through Mississauga. Now it's Niagara-bound lanes As you can see, heading away from us, we've got the left shoulder, and it looks like 2 left lanes are blocked through here. So everybody's got to squeeze over to that one right lane that's getting through. So collision right there at the QEW at Cawthra. We had an earlier problem, QEW at 7th in St. Catharines, but that's now gone. Here's a look east of Lake. You can see how wet the roads are right now. Top of the Skyway Bridge, east of Brodie, all the way through Lorne Park. It is raining all the way through the Horseshoe at the moment. So the 403 west of 10, no problems right there. But that is the major problem right now. QEW at Cawthra heading Niagara bound. All right, let's get to our temperatures. And with all of the rain that we have had throughout the overnight, it's just been drumming down out there. That's what you've got to be careful of, is flooding on the highways, flooding on the roads, lots of puddles, and they could be really deep because of all the precipitation. So 2 in Hamilton, 1 Grimsby, 3 and 4 Mississauga into Toronto. For seasonal temperatures this time of year, -2 and -10. We've been nowhere near those temperatures for overnight lows and daytime highs. So those are our sun times and our records for today. For school today, it's going to be wet. And that rain this morning in 4, but 7 for after school. And it's going to be chance of some drizzle, some light shower activity. So there's that 15 to 25 millimeters for today. And then it'll taper off a little bit. 2 overnight, 6 for tomorrow with some drizzle. There's some mixing on Sunday because that temperature is going to sit around the freezing mark. What's that? Some sunshine for Monday? Okay, it will go, what is that thing in the sky? And then back to clouds, but mild Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's your forecast. Annette, Tim.
Okay, let's go to South Korea before we get to the bottom of the clock, because the food ministry there has had to issue a health warning.
It urges people not to eat deep-fried toothpicks. It happened because of an online social media trend. Clips showing people eating the deep-fried starch toothpicks with seasoning have racked up thousands of likes and shares on TikTok and Instagram. Food coloring is used to turn them green. Now, they are made of starch from sweet potatoes, but the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety in South Korea says the starch toothpicks are not edible products, and their safety as food hasn't been verified. They posted on X, "Please do not eat."
Oh, they look like, oh, look at them.
Yeah, so when they're deep fried, they turn into curly fries.
Well, they look like worms.
Oh,
Yeah. You know, somebody in the food ministry is, I can't believe we're having to tell people.
Well, but it's just like they just say anything deep fried can be good.
Yeah, no.
Don't eat it. Okay. Rainy start to your Friday morning. Brian takes a look at that and your weekend forecast and other news when we come back.